First of all, I will discuss the shipmate element from the side of the dispatch management. So, as it stands, we have now integrated with a company called Shipmate. Shipmate do integration with a whole host of couriers throughout the UK. They're actually the one that at the moment has the most integrations with the most different partners, which is good from our perspective because it means that we don't have to do any direct or dedicated with them. Within Shipmate, you set up your rules for your couriers that you want to work with. So you still have to have an account with each of those couriers. So DPD, TNT, Yodel, whoever it is, you'll still need your individual account with them. And any special prices you've got with them will still apply. But you sort of take those details of your Yodel account, your TNT account, give it to Shipmate when you sign up with them, and they use that as their feed from Shipmate into TNT, into Yodel, etc. And within Shipmate, you set up a variety of different rules. Those rules range from routing rules, which are you can set up where you can deliver to, and i.e. if you deliver to Europe, then we use these couriers. If you deliver to UK, we have these different couriers. So you can set up those style of routing rules. And delivery services are where you can specify which couriers you use. So in my system's case, I've got DPD just set up at the moment, but you can set up, again, a huge long list of different ones that you can enable and so on. And my understanding is the way that it works with Shipmate is that there isn't a fee for each different one. You pay a fee for your number of labels, in effect, a number of parcels that you send through Shipmate. So it doesn't matter how many different couriers you use, it's actually the quantity of parcels that you put through them that actually is where you pay your fee with Shipmate for it. So within the delivery services, we can set up a variety of different, so for DPD, we may have a range of different services. Next day, under 5 kilo, under 1 kilo, an extra large package, and you can set them all up. And against each of these, you set up any conditions that go with it. So you could say that the service is next day. It's got a postcode within certain areas. It's got a total weight of this. So these rules are configured within Shipmate and nothing directly to do with Smart Stock. However, Smart Stock in effect calls Shipmate, and Shipmate will give it a list of the services that meet the specific rules that we're working with. So when we say we've got a 5 kilo package, or let's say it's a 6 kilo package, Shipmate won't give us back a service that is for 5 kilos only. So it narrows it all down automatically and so on for you. But those rules are controlled within Shipmate and totally within Shipmate. Nothing to do from our side of setting those up or controlling those at all. I'll come back to Shipmate itself in a bit once we've done some actual dispatches, and you'll see what's going on with there. But the dashboard that we're looking at now is the dashboard that is Shipmate's dashboard, where the end user would get their own login. They'll be able to go in, and within here you can see the parcels that you're sent, the status that they're at, and all information like that. Quite a bit of that information we can also see in Smart Stock because we've replicated it in there, but this is their overall dashboard to be able to see things from there. And again, with Shipmate, you can do things like you paid for a, let's say it's a 3-day business delivery or deliver within 3 business working days service. Shipmate records each of the different stages that happen. So the date that it was collected, the date it went on the lorry, the date it was delivered, and so on. So it can work out, it's a 3-day business delivery. It took 4 days to deliver it before it was actually physically signed. So therefore it has its own performance tracking per courier. So you can see how well each courier is doing hitting those delivery times that in effect they've promised you for each of those services. So that's all part of Shipmate, and again, Shipmate can do a more detailed demo of it than I can. So within Smart Stock, the first thing that we've got within Smart Stock now is a new setup within the head office settings. There is now a additional tab that appears when somebody has the license for dispatch management. So that's the first thing to note, that dispatch management is a chargeable feature, which George can discuss later on in terms of how we're going to price it and so on and so forth. But it is a chargeable feature that has to be enabled in somebody's license to have it. When it's enabled, we then get this additional tab, and within here we can then choose to turn it on, because even though they've got it enabled, they may not initially want to turn it on or whatever, so we can choose to turn it on from there. And then we've got a variety of different settings and configurations that all relate to the Shipmate setup, their account details with Shipmate, etc. Whether we're integrating with a test site or a live one. So again, Shipmate provides a sandbox, a test site for customers to be able to send transactions through to. They'll appear in Shipmate, but actually they never organise a courier. They never go outside of Shipmate. So it's just a test environment to be able to test and work with. So this is what we use, obviously, from a demo perspective. We also have the ability to allow auto courier selection. Now, with this option turned on, there'll be, when we go to send a parcel, there'll be an option that appears that basically says, do we want Shipmate to determine which courier, which service to use automatically based on its rules that it has built into it. So if we leave it at that option, Shipmate will work it out. Shipmate will deal with it based on its rules. If that option's not on, obviously that option won't appear in the list, and basically Smart Stock will give us a list of the services that match the rules, and we can then pick and choose. And again, I'll show you that as we run through it and it goes through. Some of the other options, just one to be wary of, and again, it'll be one from a Steph perspective more than anybody else, I would imagine. Then that is that the ISO 3166 codes are the codes that the systems use for country codes. So there are two types of country codes. There's a 3-digit code and a 2-digit code. Shipmate has its own specific requirement of how it wants its codes, and I think it wants them in a 3-digit format. Some of the accounts packages that we work with send us it in 2. Some of us send it in a 3-digit code. So this allows us to set up to be able to say, what are we getting from the accounts package? Is it coming through as a 2-digit code or a 3-digit code? And then if it's coming through as a 2-digit code, Smart Stock will go and look for that 2-digit code in the list that it's got of all the countries in the world and convert it to the 3-digit code to give it to Shipmate. So in that respect, we don't have to worry about it. We just have to configure it initially when we set the system up. Next thing that we have within the setup is packing types. And packing types are the different types of packaging that we're going to use. So whether that be a large box, a small box, a tube, a pallet that can hold so much. And against each of these, we then set up to be able to say, we give it a code, a description, what the empty weight of that item is. So if it's a pallet, it may already weigh 5 kilos on its own. What its maximum weight is that can go onto that pallet, including the weight of the empty item, its length, width and depth. And again, the reason for all of these are there is that when we pass the information to Shipmate about what we're sending, it wants to know the weight of the parcel, what its dimensions of the parcel and so on are. So again, it can work out which service best suits that parcel that's being sent. And we can set up as many of these different packaging types as we wish. Okay, let's actually go have a look at the actual nitty-gritty of it. So Smart Stock itself in general doesn't change. The normal process of take a sales order, send it to be picked, away it'll go be picked, it'll come back, it'll come into the picking process for us to confirm and convert to a delivery note. And when we convert them to a delivery note, they then automatically appear within the dispatch management. So unless they've gone through the picking process of Smart Stock, they won't appear within the dispatch management of Smart Stock. So once we go into the dispatch management side, we get a screen that comes up, and this will normally show us a list of all of the parcels, all of the packages that we've organised that have been sent out that haven't yet been delivered. So this screen is automatically talking to Shipmate, and when it sees that a parcel has got delivered by Shipmate, it will update its status and it will take it off of this grid. We can go back and look at them if we want to. We can look at the different statuses that they're at and go back and look at them. But by default, it will just show us what's left outstanding. And as it stands at the moment, it tells us there are 2 delivery notes waiting to go through this packing process. So we've got 2 delivery notes that have gone through Smart Stock's picking and been delivered. Now, in terms of they've gone through the delivery process and committed to the accounts package, we're now going to pack these up and send them out via a courier. So to do that, we will just hit the add a packing record. That will then give us a list of those delivery notes that we're going to send out. Now from here, we can see the details about the delivery note and so on. Now it may well be that one of these, somebody's coming to physically pick up and collect. We can highlight it. We can just click on the not being packed, and that will take it off of our grid, out of the way, and basically say, right, we don't need to worry about this one now because that one's being dealt with manually from the screen. What we could also do is we could just double click on one of these delivery notes and start to pack that individual delivery. Another thing that you can do, and this is something that Steph did originally mention when we were talking about this earlier on, is you can multi-select delivery notes and actually consolidate them into one delivery or one packing process. So you could take multiple sales orders, or multiple delivery notes if you like, and take them and turn them into one packing record to send out. Now obviously the reality is when you do that, the system's going to take the delivery address from the first selected delivery note that's in there to use across all of the packages. So there are warning messages that come up to tell you and warn you regarding that fact, but you can now multi-select deliveries and send them out in one single go. If we take a sales or a delivery note and just double click on it to do it, it will then start us and take us through the process. It'll ask us to confirm the details of where it's being delivered to, any delivery instructions, and any messaging information for the contents. Some requirements are that you can put a description of the contents, and this just goes on the electronic documentation that goes through customs if it's going out of the UK, to actually help with it go through the customs process a lot smoother. But none of them are actually a mandatory requirement from there. What is mandatory on here is that the country code is selected. So the system will look for the country code coming from the delivery address on the accounts package, and it will marry it up with either the 2 or the 3-digit code. If it can't find it, if I go into here and double click on this one, then the system will actually come up when we try to use it and tell us that it needs to be validated. It will force us to select it from a drop down list of valid country codes. So it will tell us that originally, in effect, the delivery address said it was UK. Well, actually, there is no country code in the international list for United Kingdom. So it actually, well, sorry, there is, but the way that it's done is there is no country code coming through from the accounts package. So from here, we then get a full list of every country that exists within the world, and we can select which one it is and where it goes to, and away we go with it from there. So it'll allow us to marry those. I will just click OK. And now it takes us into the actual packing process. So within this process, it will now ask us, first of all, okay, what's the first type of box parcel that we're going to use? What sort of packing type are we using? And this will give us a list of our packing types that are there. So I'm just going to add in a large box. And from here now, I can start to either scan or double click on lines to put into that parcel. So if I was to go here and double click on this item or scan and say I'm going to take 2 of those and put it in, what we'll see is it will show us that this item now, or this parcel now, has basically was only one. I'll have to double check that. Did I do only one? No. Oh no, so there's got one different item, but a quantity of 2 of them. That's right. Total selling price, total weight of those items, and its selling price. Again, the selling price is needed from a requirement of international sending for insurance and customs perspectives. Now, I can either keep adding into this package, into this parcel, and sending stuff into there. And again, if I go over the maximum weight of the 25 kilos, the system would warn me and tell me that's too heavy for this type of parcel. But what I can also do is go, okay, well, that one's full. Let's say I can add another parcel. So I'm going to add now a small box, let's say, and I'm going to, now that I'm on that parcel as highlighted down here, I can take an item and I can put that into that. So with each one, we can now add as many different parcels as we want and as many items into each parcel as we wish. We can go and review a parcel, so we can go back, we can look at it, we can take a line off that parcel if it's not what we want, we've put it in the wrong box, we can take it off and we can add it to the right parcel. We can delete a parcel altogether and it'll take the lines out of it and put them back on there for us to deliver, etc. So we can build up this packing process with the multiple parcels that are in it and the multiple items that are in each of those parcels. When we are then ready to send this, we can process to courier. And when we do that, what the system will then do is it will go off for each parcel and it will then determine with Shipmate how we're going to send this. So because I've got the option in my parameters turned on for the automatic selection, I can let Shipmate determine it automatically and it will determine what it is. Or I could select on the list, and these are the other services that I've got that fit the criteria for this parcel. So I've got a next day. Now, the reason it's only giving me the next day is because I'm at a weight of 5.99 kilos. If I put that just to the moment for 4, Shipmate will now give me the 5 kilo parcel option because I'm under 5 kilos in my total weight. So it will redetermine and re-give us the list automatically from there. Once I've selected what I want to do with this one, I'll just let that do automatically by Shipmate. It will then ask me for the second parcel. And again, how do I want to do it? What its weight? And the reason that we give an option for the weight of the parcel to be overridden is because you may have packed it with a different additional packing, bubble wrap, there may be wrapping going around the outside of the whole pallet. So this is the grand total of the weight that basically Shipmate is going to pick up, or the courier is going to pick up. And again, we can choose what we're going to send it via, and away we go. As soon as I do OK on that, Shipmate will now create, or SmartStock will create the actual consignment with Shipmate, and it will now give us the ability to print, and this is optional. I meant to show you in the configurations, but you can optionally print a packing note per parcel. So it's a bit of paper in effect that you can put into parcel 1 to say that's what's in this parcel, and then in parcel 2 that's what's in this parcel. So you can very easily see and print the documentation to go in each of the parcels from what you've done. That now has gone off to Shipmate and sits there within there. If I was to just quickly look at the tracking information, the tracking information button will basically go off and talk to Shipmate, and it will confirm the current status of those parcels. So it will, each one that's created will be given a consignment number. Each one will be given a unique tracking number from the courier's perspective when it's organised with the courier. It will also show us in here the date of each of the stages that something happened with Shipmate. So the label created was just now because I've just literally done it, and normally what would happen is it would normally print out the labels at the time when we create that consignment. Manifested is basically when the courier has been organised to be sent to go pick up the goods. Collected is when they physically collected them from you as the sender. In transit is when they physically went out of, let's say, DPD's depot to go to deliver to the customer. Delivery failed is obviously a date if it tried to deliver, but they couldn't. When was that? And then delivered is the actual date and time it finally got delivered to the customer. So you can see each of the different stages for each of the different parcels that actually goes on. So if I just quickly flick back to the web, I should be able to look in here and I can see within the parcels of Shipmate, I've got my 2 consignments, number 44, 2, 1, number 44, and so on. So we can very easily see what we've got sent, where it's gone to. Within Shipmate, we can also see the status it's at. So each of these different boxes will get ticked as it gets manifested, collected, delivered, and so on. And if I was to go into it, again, I can see, I can reprint additional labels if I want to from one here and so on. And it tells me all the details about it, what service it was sent with. If DPD, if we told it to do it automatically, it would just work it out and so on for us. So on this screen, we've got obviously outstanding process that's gone on, package that's gone on, and we can see all of the details that's happened. Viewing the tracking status shows us what's happened with the tracking of each of those parcels. If I view the actual package parcels, I can see the individual parcels that were sent. And then within here, I can see the full details about how it was done, how it was sent. In here is also the service that was associated with that parcel. So if it was automatic, in here it will tell us what one is basically selected automatically. And again, I can drill down then further to there and see what was in that individual parcel, should I so wish. And I can reprint the packing notes and so on from there, nice and easy. So it's a very straightforward, very easy process to happen. Like I say, in the background, the system is constantly monitoring Shipmate for any consignments which are still outstanding, and it'll look at their status with Shipmate. When it sees that they have been delivered, then it will take them off of this list and move them into the delivered section so that they're no longer something that's there for us to worry about. Now, on top of the actual dispatch management, we've also changed to make life easier to monitor this rather than having to come to this screen. We've got stuff relating to the control panel to help people with seeing this outstanding information and for it to, again, constantly be updated from there. So as you probably know previously, within the control panel, we have 4 panels that exist within the control panel that the system shows us. Now, we now want to add 2 more to allow us to be able to see dispatch information and parcel information on there. But obviously the reality is we can't fit 6 on that screen sensibly. So the way that it's now been done is that the control center has been changed to allow each user to be able to select what we class as panels they have within their dashboard or within their control center. So against the user setup, we can then go in and basically we have 4 different ones. So we've got the original 4 that we had, but we've now got 2 new ones when dispatch management is licensed. That's a package summary. Again, I'll show you that in a minute, and a parcel detail. So you may have somebody that just wants to be able to have these 2 screens set up, so they can set 2 up with that and 2 up with none. So that basically now the control center will just show you 2 physical grids that's available. I've got mine set up just with 4 at the moment, but I've got the 2 new ones on there to show us. So first things first is the package summary. So the package summary is when we sent out our parcel that we sent, or our parcels, it was from one consignment, in effect, one package, but within it there was 2 parcels. So the summary shows you at a consignment level. So it shows you that that consignment has 2 parcels in it. None have been delivered, none have been collected, none have been manifested, none have labels printed, etc. So we can see the status at a top level for that. Within that, we can then go and view the package, which will show us the parcels within it, and we can view the parcel details within each of those. We can also go to that and we can view the tracking information. So that will now show us within that consignment the 2 parcels and when each of those stages happened. The parcel detail is it skips the top level and in effect takes you straight to the individual parcels and shows you, right, here are all the parcels you've got left outstanding, and it shows you in effect the details of when that actually happened. So has a label been printed, has it been manifested, collected, and so on. And again, you can highlight, you can view the tracking details of it. It'll take you in and it'll show you each of those stages. And again, these can be set up so that they're on an auto refresh. And again, the system is on the control panel, constantly looking and talking to Shipmate. And when it sees that they're delivered, they'll disappear off here so that they're no longer something you'd have to worry about, monitor, and go through with. And in summary, that is dispatch management. Questions? I'm sure there's going to be loads.